Hello everyone and welcome back to Crypto Atlas. In today's episode, we will be talking about Bitcoin, Orchid, as well as NuCypher. Just looking at the charts a little bit, what's going on with it, because it did have some very interesting moves, and see if we can try and see where things are going to next. Most notably though, we'll be talking about the news in today's video. Quick side note guys, I'm not a financial advisor. Everything I share with you is my opinion and the news that I'm gathering, and I always encourage you guys to go do more research on this stuff anyways yourself. So please don't ask me for direct financial advice on what you should actually invest in. And if you guys are new to the channel, feel free to subscribe to the channel. We do cover a lot of news on this channel, and I do give you some of my own perspective views with the technical analysis. Hit that thumbs up like button. We are trying to get to at least 50 likes on this video, and it really helps us out a lot. And also make sure you click the bell notification so that you know when we have a new video going up. Let's get right into the news with this. Okay, so first up, one of the things to take a look at here, which is mentioned by Alistair Milne over on Twitter, Grayscale buying is over 100% of mine supply. MicroStrategy is also buying. Square users are buying. Hedge funds are buying. PayPal users are buying. And the Bitcoin price isn't at all-time highs, question mark, right? So a few possibilities that he states here, and I think this is really interesting perspective. End of year profit taking equals frantic rebuying in January. Market neutral strategies equal huge daily candle upon break. Asia hasn't got the memo about U.S. corporations funding buying equals wrecked. Impatient retail selling because finally in profit equals more upside for stronger hands. Let me know what you guys think about this, but I do find it quite interesting that we have so much people, major institutions that are dropping big money, and we've actually been seeing a decline in the price going on even with all that going on. But the price is starting to go up more. And we'll be talking about that because of the latest news that just came out. So as of the time that me recording this video, it is now 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and Bitcoin is on a tear, going back up, rallying stronger. Okay, so now you can also buy Bitcoin with Apple Pay through Lumi Wallet app, but there is a catch with this, guys. Okay, so you can now buy Bitcoin with Apple Pay thanks to a new integration in the multi-currency crypto wallet app Lumi. You can also buy Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Tether, USDT, Binance USD, Celsius, DAI, EOS, and more than 1,200 ERC20 tokens via Ethereum. Using Apple Pay also simplifies the purchase process as you can skip identification verification. Okay, so here's the thing. Lumi explains that because Apple and its partner banks already completed these checks, Apple Pay users do not need to be verified in its own app, which is great news. But the limitations then come into play, and ironically, it's stricter limitations for those in the United States than other countries. For U.S. citizens, there are $500 limits daily and weekly, and $5,000 for yearly. So at the most you could do through their little app is $5,000 for the whole year. For non-U.S. citizens, daily and weekly limits will be $1,000 and $7,500 yearly. So you get a lot more freedom to be able to purchase using this app in other countries. And I've been just noticing an ongoing trend. We got regulations here, and I understand the government is trying to make sure that illegitimate things don't take place, but you're seeing things like Filecoin. And if you guys haven't heard about Filecoin recently, they did list on Coinbase, and it popped really hot. I tried to get Filecoin back before it was doing any of this stuff with Coinbase. I'm talking like a year ago, and the price was way less than what it is currently. And primarily I was looking into it because I was trying to start up my own company, and I was looking into functions and features, and I was like, hey, this looks like something that has a really good application that could fit well with the business plan that I'm trying to do, and I like the concept of it in general. Well, guess what? None of the exchanges I could buy it through were in the United States at the time, which sucks. So you have this really low price coin, which we're seeing happen in a lot of these other countries, super low price. And then once they eventually get led over to the United States, now you have the KYC regulations, they're astronomically higher. So the people that were buying it in at those really low prices, where do you think they're located? In these other countries, right? So they're the ones that are making the biggest gains. Everyone else can make gains still. It's not saying that you're not going to make gains, but that realm of opportunity is not here like it is in other places. And when you got all governments seemingly on this repeated binge of wanting to complain about how China's growing so much, but then you put these strict regulations in for this kind of stuff, so they start to get the momentum over there because they have access to this kind of things, right? And we don't. And then when it comes over here, who do you think makes the biggest buck? And who do you think is funding even further that push? It's us. We're coming in late to the game on each of these circumstances. So it feels kind of, I guess, hypocritical of the situation. If you guys disagree with me on this, you're more than welcome to, and it's no problem. Feel free to describe the way you feel down below. And let's go ahead and move on to the next bit of information. Bitcoin whales are buying low and selling high. Retail investors are chasing the rallies. Data. Trading data of the Bitcoin Tether pair on OKEX's platform between August and November showed that during the November Bitcoin rally, whales such as individual investors with sizable holdings and potentially institutions were taking profits by selling their Bitcoin. During the same month, smaller sized traders such as retail investors continued buying as they did in September and October, despite higher prices in the oldest cryptocurrency, according to the report compiled by OKX and blockchain data firm Kaiko. All right, so look at this. See lots of red going on here, little bits of green. That was between the 0 and 0.5 Bitcoin, 0.5 and 2 Bitcoin, respectively, for October, November. Another green position. Total overall periods you see in the negative. 10 Bitcoin or more was in the month of October for positive gains. And then further continuations on through here from November 24th and November 30th. Ultimately, whales seek to drive the market, shake out retail traders in panic, and capitalize on opportunities to buy relatively cheap coins, according to the news release from OKX. That's kind of a weird way to say that. According to a news release from OKX. For retail traders and everyone else in between, the choice seems to be between two options: swimming with the tide or against it. Okay, moving on. Why 2021 is set to be even bigger for Bitcoin. Okay, well, this is written earlier today. 2021 really centers around continual improvements in continuity between traditional markets and crypto markets, Pierce Crosby, general manager at financial data company TradingView, said via email. A perfect example would be Square's Bitcoin offering or PayPal's payment via crypto. There are many such use cases for crypto, and we expect these to expand rapidly in the coming year. Trading will still be reflective of this adoptive curve. The higher the adoption, the more bullish the overall trading mix will be, which is a bullish base case for the major crypto assets. Very fundamentals here, right, guys? Supply and demand. You got increase in demand. While the pandemic is not yet under control, we do have promising vaccine news as 2021 approaches, and many countries in the Asia-Pacific region have returned to on-site work. We see stabilization in U.S. government after months of uncertainty and the beginning of commitment and action to address long-standing racial and social justice inequities. At a more granular level, these months of operating in survival mode have provided valuable insight into how organizations and people can truly move forward from this disruption and position themselves to navigate the future disruptions that are bound to occur. So trying to learn from our previous mistakes and prepare for the next position if it has something similar show up, right? Another COVID pandemic of some sorts and how we can react to it more quickly. London neobank Revolut, I don't know how you say that. I think it's Revolt. Debuts 4 new cryptocurrencies. These 4 cryptocurrencies are EOS, OMG Network, Tezos, and OX for users in the Europe Economic Area. The company said in a blog post on Thursday, December 10th, Revolut first added Bitcoin, Ether, and Litecoin in 2017. Revolut added these new tokens in response to high demand from its customers, according to a report in Finance Magnates, right? So OX, especially this year, seems to have been doing pretty well. OMG's had some moments there. Tezos, kind of bit sporadic. EOS, I'm trying to remember. It's had a couple moments, but I think it's kind of on the wayside, if I remember correctly, over the course of the year compared to the others. So you got 4 new coins being added to that collective right there. I wish when I opened it up, I was like, please tell me Orchid's going to be there. And I'm like, dang it. All right, decree forces Russia's public officials to declare their holdings in Bitcoin. So that whole KYC element is going more dominant in Russia now. According to him, document any official or person seeking to hold public office must disclose your digital assets as well as those of your spouse and children. The decree takes effect on January 1st, 2021. So right around the corner, within just a couple weeks. The Ministry of Finance also proposes depriving of liberty for about 3 years to the owners of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in case they have not informed the tax authorities at least twice in 3 years about transactions carried out with digital assets. So really trying to crack down. You're talking like, oh, you didn't report it? Guess what? 3 years. Bam. It says about 3 years. So technically it could be more than 3 years, right? But it's close. Could be less as well. But it could be more. And then here we go. Okay, this is the news that just came out. And there's a reason why I'm saying this, all right? It's not for my own political point of view on things. It's more about what's been kind of referenced in the past with this. So you guys, if you voted for Trump or not, whatever, we're not focused on that. The Supreme Court rejects Texas and Trump's bid to overturn the election. This just came out about 30 minutes ago. It was right around the time when the 4 o'clock position hit for the new daily candle for Bitcoin. And so just kind of long story short is that the lawsuit has been invalidated, right? Their overturn for the 4 different states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Georgia, and Wisconsin, which Texas was really pushing for, saying like, hey, you shouldn't count their votes. Well, guess what? Those votes are going to be counted, and the standing is still in favor for Biden. And so there's more certainty of who the next president is going to be. A lot of the uncertainty about who the next president is going to be, largely in part caused by President Trump and his tweets and his news broadcasts and everything, saying the fraud and all these allegations and everything. Him constantly doing that has created a lot of uncertainty in the public eye. And because of that, with all the lawsuits and stuff, people are feeling like, oh my God, he won't give up. He won't stop. He keeps pushing for this. That means that there's still a chance that maybe he could be president, right? That starts to go into people's minds, whether you have the facts or your own personal belief, whatever, right? That exists. We have to acknowledge that. There's a group of people out there who are very adamant about the fact that Trump still has a chance with this. Again, doesn't matter what you or I think. It's the fact that that exists. That's the point of this. And with something like this coming out and the electoral vote right around the corner, we draw every day closer towards the actual inauguration of President-elect Biden. It looks more and more and more certain, and this reaffirms even more heavily, especially when Trump emphasized that this was like the big one, right? That Biden is going to be the next president. So because of that, a lot of the people that actually were part of Wall Street and were financing the political campaign, they were funding, guess who? Biden. And when Biden was announced as president-elect, we saw a big uptick going on inside the stock market. We also saw it going on with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So there is indications of a correlation between the two. It's not a guarantee, but we do know that there's a lot of people on Wall Street side that have supported the idea of Biden. And so maybe they feel a bit more secure with their funding now that someone that they believed in and has similar points of view of what they're looking for is going to be in office. So that could have been another reason why we started to see a push up. Aside from that, though, the fact that we have another ability to purchase Bitcoin through that Apple position, which, now I think about it, it's kind of interesting because Apple's been really like this with cryptocurrency stuff. So that kind of catches me off guard there. Let's go look at the charts. And so looking at the last 2 days, we do have some red candles. You can actually see a progressive movement down having taken place, ideally ever since November 30th. So we're a week and a half past the previous all-time high for the year. Well, not all-time year, the yearly high, right? On some exchanges, it's been identified as the all-time high. But for us to be unanimous across all the exchanges, we need to hit $20,100. Then it's for sure, every exchange that's out there, we've hit a new all-time high, okay? So you've seen a decline, we're tracing back up, and it was this back and forth fighting, a lot of consolidated space with this, and then that big dump that took place on December 8th, a lot of people looking again at the CME gaps and saying that that level needs to be filled with the $7,000 range. Well, we dipped down into the $17,000 range, not 1, 2, but 3 separate days. And I set up this key level of support, which I actually talked about in yesterday's video, right here at $17,640. And guess what? you can actually see it held up very well. Bounced just a little, sorry, it went and dipped just slightly below, and then bounced back up and retraced all the way back to the previous levels and closed out still below that 21 EMA. So technically we had 2 days of close below the 21 EMA, which suggests that there is a potential of a further decline. The 50 and 200 day is also something more important. I'll take a look at that again tomorrow, more heavily as well, depending on what's going on with the new daily candle being formed right now. But in just the last 43 minutes, you can see that we've already retraced back from that low of yesterday past it. We're literally already above where that position had started on the daily candle yesterday, 24 hours beforehand. We've recovered all that within 43 minutes and then some. So this is off to an extremely heavy start. When you have a huge explosive movement like this going on, expected retracements are to be expected, right? So there's going to be a war that's taking place with this, but this was overall expected for the further growth and continuation of Bitcoin. You need to have pullbacks. It's organic. And with the volatility of crypto, especially with where it is right now, having these big dips down, it feels like a little speed bump. If you're expecting it to go all the way back down to $10,000, because that's what happened back with the 2017 cycle, you need to remember that things have changed, right? It's like you're trying to make the same kind of food and you're expecting it to have the same flavor, except the difference is that you're now buying some of your food from a different location, and so it has a slightly different feel to it. You've got more onions this time that you're putting in than before, so the flavor itself is going to taste more strongly because of that. I feel like this is kind of a weird comparison. Maybe this isn't the best comparison, but hopefully you understand where I'm kind of going for with this. The end result is not going to be expected the same when you're putting new factors into the equation. All right, so that's kind of the bottom line with that. Right now, we break above the 21 EMA. A key level is at $18,262, which we currently are above. A further retracement back down, watch that key level. That level of support, $17,660. It held strong against it yesterday. And right now the RSI is showing a median zone. Honestly, we're at $18,000 and the RSI is saying like, hey, you're decent, right? The technical charts right above my head right here, this actually suggests as a sell. But, you know, that's because we had big dumpings that were taking place the last couple of days. I expect that to more likely shift. My personal opinion, I am leaning more bullish right now, but that's my own personal opinion. The technicals still say that we need to have a daily close above this position. The short amount of time since I've been recording this video from the new daily open position also shows a lot of movement having taken place in a very short amount of time, and the volume itself is quite low overall. That's the daily candle though, so just keep that in mind. So I would like to see this not only close above the 21 EMA, but if we can, a further extension up, closing above $18,500 will give us not only a close above the previous position back on December 9th, but also a psychological element of having hit another $500 level going back towards the 19K. And, you know, every $500 is a very key psychological element. You're more closer to 19,000 if you're at 19,501 than you are at, say, going back down, right? So if you're just a little bit above or a little bit below, psychologically it plays with your point of view on it. Up next, let's take a look at what's going on with Orchid. Orchid has had 4 days of closing out in the red below the 21 EMA, has also closed below that key level of support, which is not good. And right now it is having a push up, which is great. Bitcoin also is having the rally up too. Remember, we see this happen a lot. Orchid is like, hey, Bitcoin's starting to rally. Okay, we'll start to do something. And then Bitcoin is starting to fall down just a little bit and looks like it might start a tank move. And then all of a sudden Orchid's like dump even harder. So it moves with Bitcoin well, and then it does like, it feels like 2 to 3 times worse of a drop than what Bitcoin wants to do, right? So if Bitcoin just kept going up and up and up, a lot of the signs kind of suggest like Orchid would be like, all right, cool, we'll keep going up too. And I think there's a lot of bot stuff that's going on with these purchases and things. Anyway, so yeah, guys, if this has a further pullback down, I'd be really cautious and looking at a level right around here at 0.2180. And that's because we're seeing a lot of similarities in positions going through this bottom level on the Fibonacci retracement. And that's a lower quadrant still in that Fibonacci retracement. We're still in the red zone because of this. As of past history, we break above 0.2633. Okay, now we're entering back into the range between the 0.236 and the 0.382, right? So that's a key level right there all by itself. Going above the 21 EMA, 0.2756. And then next up, we got that level of resistance at basically 30 cents, which also plays as a psychological element right there too. So right now, looking good. We had 2, 4, 6, 7 days of red candles. If this forms as another red candle by the end of the day, that'd be 8 days in a row, and that would be more than what we've seen during this whole downtrend from that $1 position. We've not extended out more than 8 days in position. So the most that we've actually had was actually, let's see, where was it? Right here. Almost 1, 2, 3, and then there was green 1, 2, 3, 4. So hypothetically, because that's so thin, if you just wanted to count it as red, even 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So in a hypothetical scenario, even though it was actually green, if you just wanted to say that it was red, we haven't had more than 8 red candles in a row. That would be quite substantial of a new trend forming. We're looking at past trend histories and saying what is the more likely case. So is more likely today to close out in a green candle than it is to not, right? The fact that it did break down below that level of support is an air of caution. The fact that we're currently in a position going back into that triangle position is something that's a good sign, but overall in this symmetrical triangle pattern that's forming, we are still much more below that 50% range of difference between the two if you just drew a line right down the middle, right? So keep your eyes very close on this. It's going to be very interesting how things continue to move. We're already seeing it starting to have a bit of a pullback right now, and we're nearing 5 o'clock on the time frame. Okay, let's go take a look at Nu now. Looking over at this, you guys can see I drew a couple little things here. This is the daily candle. We'll talk about this in just a second because we're going to swap over what the point of view looks like. You can see green candle, 2 days of continuation, and this is a further climb up with this relationship on the Coinbase side. So it had a bit of a tank its first release, nice massive climb up, some declines down, a little bit fighting back for the decline, but we've been seeing this happen even with Bitcoin and everything else, right? So now that it's starting to have a bit of a climb back up, another second day of continuation, it is showing stronger signs of recovering back towards its previous position up at a high around 41 cents. A low point being signified on the bottom of the chart here can be shown at a little bit less than 11 cents, 0.1076, right? But let's go ahead and take a look at this on a much more micro position and looking at it from a 15-minute interval cycle. Basically what I was doing was looking at right around the points where it hit the peak, and then it decided to do this long downtrend, and then it had another massive spike up like a pump, and then another downtrend. So you're seeing about almost 2 days period here, a day and a half, a little bit more than 2 days. So every couple days so far since that massive push up is where it's going up a bit and then retraces down more heavily, right? So hit up high, retraced all the way down below where it was before. Hit up high, retraced all the way down, it's where it was before. So it's forming new lower lows. And this could potentially be the bottom, now working to try and recover its position itself. We're seeing a nice little uptick here in comparison. The most closest position that we could see would probably be right about back here on December 4th, going on its way up there to December 5th, and then having its further decline down. This could be a fake out, but so far it's actually looking pretty strong, guys. And then looking at this a little bit more, if we just zoom it here a bit, and looking at that position there. I'm not sure why I have that right there like that. I don't know what I was setting this piece up here for. I think I was going to use that for something else. Anyways, so looking at this, you can actually see that we just now had a green candle in the last 15 minutes actually break through what my actual line was positioning and showing. So I was trying to show you that if it kept this position up, hypothetically, it could go all the way to December 12th around 1:45 a.m. of a potential decision maker needing to be made. We're already seeing a bit of a retracement back down between that too. So if we actually go ahead and just pull this right back right here, sorry about that, it's pretty much the same thing. Potential move up, if it was to have a further continuation, we could see it go all the way back up to over 25 cents, 0.2546. Look at that. And putting it at that kind of level right there actually would exceed above the previous high back on December 8th, which was around 0.2476. So right now, I'd be keeping an eye on right here, but it has potential based on this trend, potential to go all the way up to that other level. So the major level right now for watching with your eyeballs is first going to be at the top here. So get above 0.24 cents, then next level 0.2483, then next level at 0.255. That's going to go ahead and do it for this video, guys. If you're new to the channel, well, actually, let's take a look, see if it has a retracement back down. If it did want to have a further breakdown, which is unlikely in this kind of formation, but if it was to have a further breakdown, essentially that would put it back down to the levels right around here that we were seeing for bottom zone. So that could be right around the 0.1715 level. Okay. So guys, that's going to go and do it for this video. Again, if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed this, please don't forget to subscribe. Feel free to share this with some of your friends if you know anybody else in crypto and you think they would find this video very informative and helpful. And if you haven't yet, please make sure you hit that thumbs up like button on this video. We are trying to get to at least 50 likes on every video that we do. I've been doing a new video daily, the best that I can for you guys. And if you haven't yet, make sure you click the bell notification as well so you know whenever we have a new video. That way you can stay the most up to date with things. And leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought about everything today. Thank you guys so much. You are awesome, and I will see you in the next episode.